Hello friends, I am Chandan. This is my handwritten notes for mechanical engineer. These handwritten notes are useful for GATE, ESC, SSC JE, ISRO, DRDO, BARC and other competitive exam. The PDF link is given on the description. You can download it. So this lecture are all about basic concept of thermodynamics. Let's try to understand what is the property of a system. So property of a system means any measurable characteristics of the system is known as property of the system. Suppose there this is the system. System means where our study is focus. Inside this system, there may have some temperature, volume, density. There is a gas is something. There is a gas inside this system, and this gas have some temperature, volume, mass, which is measurable. So the measurable characteristics of the system is known as property, and the property are of two type, that is intrinsic property or intrinsic property, or another name is the second type of property is extensive property, or you can say that extrinsic property. Let's try to understand what is intrinsic property. Intrinsic property is that all the property which are independent from mass or size is known as intrinsic property. So which are independent from mass or size, जो मास और साइज के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट नहीं है वो इंटेंसिव प्रॉपर्टी है. And what is extensive property? Extensive property is that the property which depends upon mass or size are known as extensive property. Okay, which dependence on the mass or size of the system is known as extensive property. Let's understand on it. Suppose consider this is a cylinder. In this cylinder there is a gas is there, some gas is there. Suppose consider the gas, this cylinder have the velocity, that is c. C is the velocity, and in this cylinder there is a measurable properties, that is pressure, temperature, volume, mass is there, energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, density is also there, viscosity, and there is a thermal conductivity K is there, entropy, enthalpy, internal energy. So these are the properties. These are the properties is there. Now consider you divided this cylinder into two parts. Divided this by two equal parts. When you divided these two equal parts, you can see that the first part have the same velocity c, and the second part have the same velocity c. And when you see on the pressure, the first part pressure is P and the second part pressure is also P. That means pressure is not changing. Pressure is P. The left side pressure is P and the right side pressure is also P. So this is the left side and this is the right side. This is the right side. So here when you see on the temperature of left side is also T and the temperature is or the right side is same. That means these properties are does not depends on the mass or size. Now when you see the volume, here the left side volume is divided into two parts, that is V by 2, and the right side volume is V by 2. The mass is also divided by 2. Energy is also divided by 2. Right side energy is also divided by 2. Kinetic energy is also divided by 2, and kinetic energy right side also divided by 2. Potential energy is divided by 2, and density of these both cylinders have same, and there is viscosity is also same, and there is a thermal conductivity also same. But here there is a entropy, enthalpy, internal energy That's are not same, that is different, that is divided by 2. That means the what is intensive property? Intensive property is the independent or on mass or size. So here the pressure temperature is not changing. The pressure and temperature is not changing with respect to uh, the pressure and temperature is not changing. So this is known as intensive property. So intensive property is pressure, temperature, density, viscosity, thermal conductivity, and velocity is also known as intensive property. And the property which are dependent on the mass or size is known as extensive property, that is volume, because volume is divided into two parts, that is v by 2, and here the v by 2, mass, kinetic energy, and there is potential energy, and enthalpy, entropy, internal energy. So both are, so every property is divided into two parts. So that is why this is known as extensive property. So this is all about the properties. Now in thermodynamics, when you read on closed system, the thermodynamics were, you can say that minus integration vdp pdp, sorry, minus integration pdp. So first there is a p and dv. So first, that is intensive property, that is p is the intensive property, and dv here change in volume v, that is the extensive property. So always remember, the first term will be intensive property and the second term will be extensive property. For some work, you can say that sigma, integration sigma into d epsilon. So first term is intensive and second term is extensive property. For chemical work, integration mu dn. Electrical work, integration edp. Magnetic work, integration mdz. So for every work, the first term is intensive property and the second term is extensive property. Remember that. So here mu is the chemical potential, n is the number of particles, E is the electrical field, P is the polarization, M magnetic field, and Z is the magnetization. Now, let's focus on specific quantities. Specific quantities means quantities per unit mass is known as specific quantities. Suppose there is a volume. Volume is the property. The unit of volume, that is meter cube. When volume is divided by mass, this will be the small v. This is the small v. Okay. So this is known as specific volume. So what is the unit of this specific volume? That is meter cube per kg. Suppose there is enthalpy. When enthalpy, what is the unit of enthalpy? That is kilojoule. But when you divide it by enthalpy by mass, that will be the specific enthalpy. And what is the unit? That is kilojoule per kg. In the same way, suppose there is entropy. When you divide it by mass, that is specific entropy. Okay. So what is first? All the form of energy, that is enthalpy, entropy, are extensive property. Remember that. And all the forms of specific energy are intensive property. So specific form of energy are intensive property. Remember that. Now important point with respect to property. Property means measurable characteristics of the system is known as property. So properties are point function or state function. So properties are depends on the point or state function. First point. Second point is that properties are independent from past history. Property does not depends on the past history. And properties are exact differential. That means cyclic integral is equal to 0. Suppose there is a integration t1 to t2 dt. So t1 minus t2, this is t2 is, if this is equal to 0, t1 minus t2, then this is known as exact differential. So this is the important point with respect to property. Okay. Thank you everyone. Thank you.